What if your greatest enemy lives in your own thoughts before the world can touch you? Your own mind has already passed judgment. We blame our past, our parents, the economy. Yet most lives are not destroyed by outside forces, but by quiet sentences repeated in the dark. One whisper, "You're not enough." One memory, "You failed before." One fear, "What if they see the real you?" These are not just thoughts, they are seeds. Given enough attention, they grow into chains. The loudest battles are fought in total silence. Today, we step beyond excuses and noise and look straight into the battlefield behind your eyes, because the hardest battle is always inside. Imagine a world where the land itself responds to your thoughts. No monsters, no swords, no dragons, just a lone traveler and a landscape that mirrors his inner voice. When he feels small, the path narrows into a tight ledge over a void. When he doubts himself, the sky darkens and every step sinks into mud. The more he repeats, "I can't do this," the heavier his body becomes, until even lifting his foot feels impossible. He reaches a vast plain of mirrors. Each one shows a version of him that failed, the test he didn't pass, the relationship that collapsed, the dream he abandoned. He walks between them, haunted by reflections of not enough. Tired, he falls to his knees. He curses the world, the weather, his fate. But then he notices something subtle. The storm grows worse only when he speaks against himself. What if the enemy is not the world, but the words you believe? He decides to try an experiment. He stands shaking and whispers, "I am learning." The mud hardens. He says, "I am not finished yet." The sky opens slightly, a thin beam of light tracing his path forward. For every new, honest, empowering sentence, the terrain shifts from hostile to challenging, but possible. The mountain ahead does not disappear. The distance does not shrink, but he feels something different under his feet. Not perfection, just support. The hardest battle was never the journey itself, but the story guiding each step. Some of humanity's greatest turning points were not decided in parliaments or on battlefields, but in quiet rooms where one person wrestled with their own doubt. Picture a young researcher in a cramped laboratory years ago. Her experiments keep failing. The data will not behave. Colleagues begin to move on. Funding dries up. On paper, the obstacle is scientific. In reality, her biggest problem is the sentence forming in her mind. "Maybe I'm just not smart enough." She is not Marie Curie, not a legend yet, just a tired human being staring at glass tubes and glowing numbers, fighting the urge to give up. Or think of an engineer obsessed with flight. The newspapers laugh at his prototypes. Friends tell him to be realistic. But the heaviest resistance he faces is internal. Images of crashing in front of a crowd. Voices from childhood saying, "You always mess things up." History remembers success as inevitable. It was not. It was fragile, hanging by the thread of one person's decision to answer their inner critic with one more attempt. Every breakthrough we celebrate hides a war we never saw. Behind every discovery, there were mornings when getting out of bed felt pointless. Afternoons when another failure felt like proof of personal worthlessness. Nights when they stared at the ceiling, asking, "Who am I to think I can change anything?" But some of them, in those private, quiet hours, chose a different sentence. "I don't know if I can do this." but I will keep trying. That single thought did not magically erase difficulty. It simply kept them moving long enough for the world to eventually call them genius, when all they really did was win the hardest battle, the one inside. And that victory was invisible to everyone but them. Now, imagine this same inner war playing out aboard a starship. The Astroventum glides through deep space, far from any planet. Engines humming like a distant heartbeat. Inside, the crew look calm. Outside, the stars are silent. But inside their minds, storms rage. Lyra, the navigator, traces luminous paths between gravity wells. One miscalculation could scatter them into a star. Her hands are steady, but her thoughts tremble. What if I'm the mistake that ends this mission? Arin, the captain, walks the corridors with practiced confidence. Crew members nod with respect, yet in his quarters, alone, he stares at his reflection and hears an old echo. You're not a leader, you're pretending. Kai, the engineer, knows every circuit, every reactor pulse. He can fix almost anything, except the way he talks to himself when a system fails. It's always you always miss something. No alien attacks them, no empire hunts them. The real threat is the quiet corrosion of self-belief. In the endless silence of space, the inner critic gets louder. One day, a navigation error throws the ship off course. Alarms flare. Lyra's calculations collapse. Her first instinct is not to solve, it's to blame herself, to freeze, to surrender to the story, I ruin everything. But this time, something different happens. The captain voices his own fear, out loud. The engineer admits his. They share the battle instead of hiding it. Together they breathe, recalculate, repair. The ship is saved not by flawless minds, but by a crew that refuses to believe the harshest stories they tell themselves. So, what about you? No fantasy realm, no famous lab, no starship corridor, just you, your life, and the sentences you repeat when no one else can hear. Maybe you tell yourself, I'm always late. I never finish anything. I'm the one who ruins good things. Individually, they sound harmless, just passing comments, but repeated for years, they become a script, and a script quietly dictates how the story unfolds. Look at how you move through your day. You delay starting a project, not because it's impossible, but because you already believe you'll fail. You avoid people who inspire you, because standing near them activates the story that you are less. The outside world provides obstacles, yes, bills, responsibilities, setbacks, but those are challenges. What truly crushes us is the voice that says, you can't handle this, you're not enough for this. The world is not what it is, it's what your thoughts allow you to see. So how do you fight back? Not with violence, not with denial, but with conscious, consistent, compassionate truth. You start catching the script in real time. You hear, I always fail, and respond, no, sometimes I fail, sometimes I learn, and sometimes I win. You notice, I'm behind everyone, and answer, I am moving at my own pace, and speed is not my worth. This isn't about fake positivity. It's about refusing to let lies run your life. The hardest battle is choosing a new thought when the old one feels safe, familiar, and heavy. But every time you choose differently, you rewrite a single line of the story. One day you look back and realize the world did not change dramatically. You did, and because you did, the world finally feels survivable, even beautiful. You will still face hard days, but now you meet them with a different army, patience, self-respect, and the quiet decision to stand on your own side. That is real strength. One last truth before we end. Life will keep throwing challenges at you. Deadlines, disappointments, losses, changes you never asked for. You can't control all of that, but you can choose the voice that meets it. You are not the insults you heard growing up. You are not the comparison you silently lose to every time you open your phone. You are not the worst thing you've ever done. Inside you is a narrator, and for years it may have spoken in the tone of an enemy. Today can be the day you begin retraining it to sound more like an ally. It will feel strange, it will feel uncomfortable, but each gentle, truthful thought you choose is a step away from inner war and a step toward inner peace. Remember this: when the noise of the world fades at night, the hardest battle is always inside, and that is exactly where your freedom begins.